She's conservative and I'm liberal. And yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money. And we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head, but are too scared to say out loud. Welcome to We've Got to Talk. Welcome, my friend Jolene.
Welcome to our listeners and viewers. We are excited to bring you this podcast today. We asked you, what would you like to hear us talk about? So we threw it out there. We've gotten some good responses. We got some nasty responses. Thank you.
Thank you. We've gotten a lot of interesting questions, though, right?
We did, but we got some good questions. And so thank you for all of you that submitted either on our website or DM'd us or stopped Nicole on her elevator and asked her a question. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes,
so
we do.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with something topical. And y'all, most of these questions are actually much more broad, which I find really interesting, because when we get really into the nitty-gritty, you're going to see that, believe it or not, Jolene and I are pretty much on the same page with this stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's start with this topical one and kind of get it out of the way.
Okay.
We've heard that the renovation of the White House ballroom is now expected to cost $600 million. And half of it will come from the taxpayers. Jolene, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, is there a right answer here? Because I'm not really sure. I do agree that we needed to have a ballroom. I am not opposed to redecorating, doing construction, building a new facility or remodeling the existing East Wing, however it is turning out to be. But I think in typical Trump fashion, it just got bigger and bigger, and they added more things and all that. Initially, this was a project that was supposed to be done without taxpayer money, so he didn't have to go through Congress to, appropriate the funds and all that. It's still the people's house, and I do think there will be benefits. I don't know if the benefits equal to $300 million of spending at this point in time.
An itemized bill is what I would like to see.
Right?
Because
is the contractor working on a cost plus basis here?
Correct.
Were they vetted?
Right.
Were they
buddies?
Did this, was there an RFP given in and people were,
What's
being
an RFP?
able to request for proposal?
Oh, okay.
So I think all government request for proposal, government entities usually have to submit to, three, they have to get, bid out a project and get 3 bids so that they're not just giving it to their buddies.
Yes.
Was any of that done? I don't know. And so I
don't think it was done with the pool either. I'm not.
Right?
Right.
That's the other thing that we're hearing with the reflecting pool, that it was just granted to a buddy.
To his pool guy.
Maybe to his pool guy. I don't know.
It's kind of
it's just a Trump thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we've all come to expect it, which is so sad that we're just, that we think this is what he's going to do. So I'm sorry to make this really long. Yes, I think it was needed. Did he go about it the right way? No. And is that probably going to be the theme of most things regarding Trump? He's doing things that probably should be done in a lot of instances, but he just goes about it the wrong way, and it just makes people angry.
Yeah. I think, in a way, Jolene, I would actually agree with you. I mean, I don't think a lot of presidents call to attention things that needed to be updated, like the plane, Air Force One, and those things, it's not surprising, are very important to him, to Trump. He is he is a image person, and so he goes in and says, "Oh, this is tired," but he's made so many enemies that people immediately are like, "No," versus, "Oh, you kind of have a point, but maybe we should do it a little, in the way that it's been done, where we have Congress approve and blah, 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 blah." But like you've said, we've said so many times on this podcast that he's like a bull in a china shop, and he would actually do a lot better, I think, if he followed some rules and then people maybe get on board. I mean, I've just never occurred to me that there is a point. Obviously, they just had that. It wasn't just, but when they had that event, the press correspondence dinner, and there was an assassination attempt, and there was barely, like, the security didn't work. So to me, I was like, oh, I guess there should be a secure. I mean, it's sad. We're in a sad time, and maybe, listen, I guess there's always been assassination attempts, but it feels like it's a very sad time that we need a ballroom that is secure so that no one gets hurt. But anyway, long answer to that question.
Okay. In the context of us trying to establish our podcast and expand our podcast, what would be your ideal impossible guest? Alive or dead?
Alive or dead?
Or their fictional character. Like, don't you love The West Wing? Wouldn't you love to have...
Jed Bartlett? You watched The West Wing, right?
I haven't seen it now.
Oh, he played the president. Or that was the president's name. See, you know who I thought of? Prince.
Who? Oh.
You said
we both like Prince. Okay.
Yeah, it's an impossible guess because he's dead, and I love him, and maybe, and just very selfishly, he could come on and. Okay, let's get real.
No, I think that's a good answer.
You do? I mean,
yes, you can have that.
He's amazing. Who would you have?
Well, I would have Jesus, but I mean, you want Prince, that's okay.
You would have Jesus?
Yes.
What would you ask Jesus?
Oh my gosh, I'd have to really prep for that one.
Would you?
But yeah, I think.
Why would you have to prep for him? He's going to welcome you no matter what.
If we've only got, I know, but if we've only got 45 minutes with him,
I think Jesus might give you a little bit more. He might give you a little bit more.
Maybe, but he's got a lot of stuff going on. So I just feel like he's going to go, his people will say, you got 45 minutes and you better be prepped and ready to go. I would really want to be sure that I asked him the right questions.
I'm going to ask him, how can you help us, please?
Right? Mm-hmm. I think he would be the ideal guest for us because he's bipartisan. He leads with love. He's compassionate.
I think he'd set some records straight. That's what I need to say, right?
Oh,
he'd set some records straight because I think about how in our David French episode, shout out David, we just had such a great time speaking with him. But he was talking about how history is used for a purpose. Like we rewrite the history in order to sell our narrative. And as he was saying that, I was thinking about, and again, this is in regards to your impossible guest, Jesus. I was thinking about while David was talking about that, having taken classes in religion at University of Iowa and reading the Bible for the first time, the Old Testament and the New Testament, I was sort of struck by actually how, and I mean this in the most kind way, how benign the text is and how pointed the people are that use it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You
can find any argument in the Bible.
And that was shocking to me because I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
How are they using the text for this or that? And so you know what, girl? I'd love to have Jesus on. I'll
okay.
There you go. Because I want him to set the record straight. You know who also be cool? Is Pope Leo.
Who? Oh, okay.
I'd like to talk to him too.
Oh, yeah. He'd be great.
He'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
He'd be great.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's reach out to him.
I'll get in touch with his people.
I'll reach out to Jesus because I talk to him every day.
And I'll reach out to Pope Leo.
Out to Pope Leo.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. What is the most interesting thing that you have learned from our guests so far?
I mean, I loved talking to David French just because we've we've read his stuff so often and for so long. Like, he was such an interesting person to actually get to talk to in real life. But I thought Stephen Hawkins was so intriguing. And he comes from such a diverse background of, strict conservative to then ultra progressive and, kind of everything in between. And the work that he's doing now to kind of, form some opinions on why we think the way that we do and we vote the way that we do and we politicize the things that we do, I think that he was just really interesting. And I hope to have him on again after he comes out with like the Democratic version of his MAGA report.
Or his Hidden Tribes 2.0 he was talking about.
I just think that he articulated so well why Republicans or why people voted for Trump the way that they did, and kind of the categories that they kind of fit into was so intriguing because, you've heard me say 100 times, I had two choices. So, I chose Trump because I didn't want Kamala and I thought he'd be better than her. But there was so, everybody had different reasons. And so to be able for him to get really granular and present that information, I just was truly intriguing.
I just loved speaking with Stephen, and I loved speaking with David as well. It was funny. They aired back to back, and David mentioned More in Common, not knowing that we had just interviewed him. It hadn't aired yet. But one thing that David said that I can't stop thinking about, the example he gave, he said, Trump has had more effect on the evangelical church than the evangelical church has had on Trump. And then he took it a step further about corrupt politicians seem to affect the voter more than the voter affects the politician. So that we then bend to whatever is presented, whether it be Trump. And David was very sweet about it. You had admitted, I voted for Trump. I don't know how I feel about it, yada, yada. And he was like, I didn't judge my friends. I just disagreed with them. I just never thought of it that way before. And I found that really, really interesting. I don't know if there's freedom in that. It's just something to be really aware of, I think, that we are recording on June 25th. On Tuesday was the New York primary. There's a lot of buzz around the Democratic Socialist flood of people coming in, and I think there's a lot of fear around that. I find this all really intriguing because they're turning a blind eye to some really hateful rhetoric that's coming out of some of these candidates, where when it comes out of Trump, you're really angry about it, and when it comes out of these people, you're holding them up. And I think we need to really look in the mirror and demand more. I am all for taking care of each other and change, but I think we deserve better. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, as we've talked about with David and with other guests and with each other. I think you and I are a huge fan of decency and bringing that back into the political climate.
Yeah. If you could get one group of citizens together to solve a problem, what would the problem be?
Polarization. And the reason I say that is because I feel like if we solved polarization, we could solve the rest of it. Because right now I feel like nothing really gets done. We're just so ready to beat each other up and fight at all costs. And I think, again, I'm bringing up David again, but he talked about the exhaustive majority, and that's another thing I learned that I think is important to reiterate to our listeners and our viewers, is that it's fascinating that the exhausted middle is 2/3 of the population. It's only a third on either side, and it's the left and the right. It's both. The rest of us in the exhausted middle are not moderate. We're in the middle, meaning, I mean, the exhaustive majority, sorry, I keep saying middle. The exhaustive majority, they can be on the right, they can be in the middle, they can be in the left, and they are over it and they're tired and don't come out and vote.
5% in the primaries that have just happened, and all the primaries up to this point, about anywhere between 5 and 8% of the people of the electorate are voting in these primaries, so that you're getting the Democratic Socialists who
they're
have,
very well organized.
a well-oiled machine. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. They are, I mean, this Chevalier, is that her name?
That's
is
her
that
name.
How you say it?
Yeah.
That, I mean, she was the one that had organized. She was a community organizer, and she started with the Columbia protests and the tents and all of that. Now she's going to be a congressperson.
Yeah. I mean, the Democrats that are not part of the Democratic Socialist group, they're waking up because they're realizing they're not organized. They're not speaking to their people. But also, okay, I'm a total nerd about voting and being a citizen in this country and being a responsible person in the world. Women didn't always have the right to vote. People of color didn't always have the right to vote. It is a big deal, and it's a privilege, and I don't know why anyone would let someone else decide our destiny. And so what I'm finding, I can't speak for Americans, New Yorkers love to complain. We are professional complainers. And when you hear that there are 8 or 10 million people here, and there's like, I don't really know how many registered voters there are, but they're in let's say there's 8 million. I'm just going to make it up, okay? In our district, 75,000 people voted in the primary. That's it. 75,000 people. And so then the media goes, the Democratic Socialists are taking over. Are they? Or have most of us just decided to sit it out?
Yeah, yeah.
So there is this lens that I think I'm grateful that we do this podcast, because it's like, hold on. We can get really freaked out and scared and sad, or we could actually go to the polls and make some changes.
I think it's education. I feel like
that's a good one. I'm with you. I
hope that in the 2028 election, I hope someone takes that on as their pillar that they're going to try to promote, because I think, number one, education should be bipartisan.
Absolutely.
I think education then affects your crime rate. I think education affects the economy. I think so much stems from education.
Education affects polarization.
There you go.
There you go.
So I think that's the one thing. I think if we could come, and America has just plummeted in our...
Why? Why have we done this?
It's not for lack of funding. That's the other problem here. So, yep.
So where's the money going?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, this is a very pointed question, and I thought about not asking you this, but I think we should both address it. One thing, everybody, that happens is that we get a lot of questions to Jolene, and we've talked about how our conservative audience tends to be quieter, shyer about asking questions than our angry lefties that are demanding answers. But I'm just going to also defend Jolene. Jolene is not Trump. End of story. So this is the question, and I think let's answer this one together. How about we do that?
Okay. All right.
Given the Ebola epidemic ravaging Africa, is there an argument that U.S. foreign aid is something other than giving money away to countries that have no impact on the U.S.? What does Jolene feel about the U.S. cutting foreign aid?
I think we got several questions about cutting aid for foreign aid, cutting money for Medicaid.
Medical research.
Okay, so I will say, and whether you say that it started with Doge and, going in and trying to look at the fraud, abuse, and waste, and then you had Nick Shirley, the YouTuber who, went to Minnesota and went in, and now he's in California doing the same thing. And Okay, would you agree that there's a lot of fraud, abuse, and waste in government?
The waste, fraud, and abuse is such a Trumpian, Elon Muskian phrasing that I'm just going to tell you what the gut reaction makes me go like that.
Okay.
Do I think people are bloating the system? Hells to the yes. Yes,
Okay.
I would agree.
All right.
What I would say to you, Jolene, that is, I think, we've talked about this before, like money in Africa, the soft power, I think, is invaluable, and I think we've screwed up. I think that we have screwed up pulling aid out of that country to keep people well. Like the world is global now, so anything that if there's any Ebola outbreak, COVID, like it's coming for us too. Like it's not a hey, that's not our problem. To me.
So, right. Okay. And I would agree that we are one of the richest countries in the world. Mm-hmm. And so we have, I mean, as a Christian, we have the obligation to help those countries that aren't as fortunate as we are. But there is a lot of abuse of the money that we give. And when you give it to, look at Haiti. You give money to Haiti, and it's only the corrupt government that keeps it. And they don't give it to their people. Trying to help some of these countries with foreign aid, are we making the best use of our money? And so the fact that the USAID, that we cut off that funding because there was so much fraud that was within that program, I can see why we did it. Now, I haven't heard a bunch since the Doge initially went in there. And so I don't know what's come about.
Right.
Did they turn the spigot back on and did someone take it? Ideally, someone said, enough's enough. We went in, we found out those organizations or those countries or those NGOs that were truly doing good. And we said, great, you warrant having American revenue, that we are happy to help you with this, because ultimately it does affect the entire world. Again, that's the idealistic person in me that thinks that, again, the intent was right, implementation probably not done right.
And honestly, Jolene, I'm not totally in disagreement with you. What I struggle with, and I just think it's more human nature, but I also think it's how the Trump administration has handled everything. Everything's very extreme. Yeah. I'm not interested in throwing our money, United States throwing our money away to anyone. And so my thought is, well, why don't we fix it? Now, is that it?
Right.
Right? Like, right. Why don't we just fix it? Like, and I know that's easier said than done. I get it. But like, you guys, we're smart. Why don't we fix it? Why, like, wouldn't that be great if we actually, our money went to organizations to help people, and you also cut out situations that are bloated? Like, I just feel like we just go, no, done. I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe they thought, well, this is the way we need to fix it, but then they didn't fix it.
Or maybe they have, and we just haven't heard about it, I mean, like, is it not a story anymore if it was fixed? And, I mean, like, has anybody done a follow-up story?
But I also don't think it's fixed because they're having this health crisis.
Right, but I think the USAID went to so many different, countries and so many different programs. And I mean, it was so extensive, and it was so extensive that nobody really knew where everything was going. So, and again, we hear about the stories of the fraud.
Yes.
But has anybody done then a follow-up story of, hey, they figured out that this is a great organization that is worthy, and we've, and we started helping them again. No, because it's a feel-good story, and no one is going to.
And our attention spans are, the size of a flea, and we just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess my answer is, I think there's so much abuse of the money, and I think we have so much money and we give away so much money that you're right. They went in with a chainsaw instead of a scalpel, as as we saw with Elon. So here we are. Nicole, have
Yes.
any of your views changed since you started this podcast?
Yeah. I would say my whole experience has changed. I think about things differently. Any story that I read or listen to or watch, I am very aware of the voice it's coming from, and it either takes the heat off or it's just interesting, or I can be like, okay, this media is allowing me to have my own thoughts and figure it out. That's been really liberating to me, because I do see a lot of my friends who are liberal get really, really angry, and their nervous systems are all jacked, and I feel for them. And, you know, they're still mad at me that I won't correct you, and I'm thinking, really? Like, that's sort of not the point of this. And so have my views changed? I mean, every time we have a guest on, I'm just thrilled and surprised and honored. Like, that not only that someone would take the time to speak with us, but that we have this platform that we can learn from all these incredibly smart and thoughtful people. And that gives me real hope that there are a lot of people that aren't just angry and frustrated.
But I think that probably goes more to you just being an empathetic person and a kind soul. You want everyone to be happy.
I do.
You want everyone to be heard and seen and felt. And I don't think that everyone feels like that.
I think you're right.
They get pleasure from hurting other people, and it's a release for them to, you know, feel anger at something that they can say that they're angry, because really they might be angry about something else over here,
right,
but it's going to come out in their political views, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
have you had views changed since doing this?
Yes, I've definitely, as you said, been able to look at news differently. And see how that we're being played. And I don't think I would have dug into that. I think I would have stayed with my Fox News,
right,
with my blinders on, and this is right and everybody else is wrong.
I mean, having that episode that we did where we switched our news media for 10 days, which now would be tricky because we're both listen to it and read a lot of independent stuff, but we should probably do it again, or maybe do it near the midterms to see how everyone's being played. I found that to be super liberating. Like, just thinking out loud with you, like, I'm still pro-choice. You're still pro-life. Those views haven't changed, but the way I understand your pro-life-ism is so much more rich than it was before. Like,
and I would say on that same...
with guns, too.
See, and I would say the same thing about, like, I am pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception. But, man, I also see so many people that have been in bad situations that they are, you know, I could understand why they would choose that. And I think that has come from just being open to others. Yeah. I have only allowed my brain to think one way for so long. And I could conjure up, okay, you can't have an abortion because you're just having unprotected sex. And so you should not have an abortion. You know what? You don't have an abortion, get on birth control. That, I think, was my mindset for so long that I wasn't able to listen to any other stories of, okay, but this happened, or, you know, this was, and you start to listen to other scenarios that aren't black and white, and you go, God, there is gray area here, and it is sad. And that has allowed me, having conversations with you has allowed me to see that, you know, to look at situations with compassion instead of black and white.
And even when we did the gun episode, for instance, I was so anti-gun, and then and I'm still anti-gun. That belief has not changed, but what has changed in doing the podcast was that I did so much research. I talked to so many gun owners, and I understood in a way why they're so important to them. So it wasn't like all of these images, just like you're talking about, these black and white, this is how it is. When you start to understand how other people walk through the world, why they might think whatever is important, it really just sort of opens up my mind to know that there's just other people
and
that are
opens
not
your
like
heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even when I think about when we had Monica Guzman on and she talked about that water bill, I can't stop thinking about that water bill and how the Seattleites were like, how could you vote for Trump and yada, yada, yada. And they're like, there's a water bill that if Trump is going to, I guess, pass it or not undo it, and we need that water, we're farmers. And you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I might disagree, but if I were you, I guess I would feel the same way. That's a good question.
I think the knowledge that we both have now of social media has absolutely changed, I think changed us. And it makes us almost angry that we're being played.
Yeah.
And being fed the same narratives to make us get angrier and angrier. And I think it was Stephen Hawkins who said, whether that's deliberate by Russians or Chinese or, somebody outside of America who wants to see America fail, they're doing a really good job.
Oh my gosh.
It's working, people.
He said like with TikTok that like in China it's educational and in the United States is a toxic cancer that's rotting our brains.
Right.
Right? And yet I'm not mad at my friends, but I'm like, this is happening and you're still choosing to do this to yourself or to take in this information because it's only hurting you. And as the friend, I want to be like, I don't want you to hurt anymore because this sucks and we're all getting played.
Why aren't we able to determine what we want in our feed? Like if I only wanted videos of dogs in my feed,
you've done it.
Why can't I just push?
Haven't you done it?
Haven't really
sometimes
tried.
That you're like, I can't deal. I'm getting some more dogs, by the way. They're so cute.
Oh, well,
and
okay,
pandas.
And even all of this, this love for America. I mean, this has been with the FIFA and the World Cup coming here, and I mean, like, if I only wanted to see the happy videos of Germans dancing in two-stepping in Texas, I mean, why aren't we in control of that? Why are these platforms allowed to put into our feed things that we're not choosing?
Right.
I mean, isn't that pretty a simple thing?
Well, I think
it would be like watching TV,
but I think it's
and
on
saying
purpose.
I only want to watch sports, but then the TV keeps changing channels and shows me porn.
Right. But I think
what if I just want to watch sports?
I didn't see any of the happy FIFA stuff. The conservative was getting all the happy FIFA stuff. I didn't know what you were talking about. Then you started sending me the happy FIFA stuff, and all of a sudden now I'm getting it because I'd like it. But it's like, it's gross because they want us to stay angry at each other.
Right.
Because that makes them more money. You're the one that taught me this, if anything, money and power, money and power, money and power. I didn't believe it, totally naive, and you're right. You're right.
Unfortunately.
All right,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. If you had the power, what are each of your top 3 takeaways from doing this work that you would like taught in high school civics curriculums?
God, that's so hard because, number one, I don't remember what I learned in civics. Sorry, Mr. Corselman.
Yeah, but you're going to create your own curriculum. So what we've learned in this podcast, what are 3 takeaways that you would like to impart to high school students? I have one that's coming off the top of my head.
Okay, let me hear it.
Learning to listen.
Can you teach that in a civics class curriculum, though?
Why not?
Oh, okay.
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Because I think when we learn to listen, like the possibilities are endless. And what I mean by that, because we tend to be in a world right now where, and I've learned to listen, it has been the biggest gift of doing this podcast with you, is that I sit here, yes, I'm prepared, but I come in and I'm like, I don't know what my friend Jolene's going to say. And I'm not sitting here going, okay, I'm going to wait for her to finish so that I can say what I need to say. Because that's what a lot of us do these days. Maybe we always did, but we're certainly doing it now because we're just so ready to fight with each other.
Yeah.
But being able to listen and to get and go, oh, and then like retain that. And I think that in a civics course, you're teaching people how to communicate, how to work out problems, how to...
Okay, I love that. And so then I would take that one step further and I would say instead of debating, that we do the opposite and we create how do you compromise? How do you take an issue that you both have different opinions on, but how do you come together to create a solution? Because we found that with the ladies that we interviewed from Wisconsin, that you had very different opinions about whatever the topic is, but you have to come together to provide an answer.
So maybe it's what can we come together on?
I think everybody's got to have a
cookie dough bar?
No. Everybody's got to have Constitution of the United States in their pocket.
I think that's a great idea. I'm down with that.
Yeah,
I don't even own one. I think I got to get one. I think I got to click that out and I got to get one.
Do you feel more encouraged or discouraged since we've started this podcast?
Can I say both?
Yeah.
It changes. Sometimes it changes, honestly, minute by minute. There are moments that I am walking through the world so excited that we get to do this thing and we get to learn and we get to talk to all these amazing people and I get to learn from you. And then there are times that I am responding to something hateful on YouTube and I feel gut punched. And then I take a deep breath and I respond and maybe they respond kindly and I am encouraged again. So it's a very, I can look at the Democratic primary in New York and feel gutted. And then I can listen to the David French episode that we just did and be so excited that we get to do this thing. Like it is a very up and down. This work is hard. That's what I remember with Monica, where it made me feel kind of less crazy at how hard this work is. Because it is a very David and Goliath thing that we're doing.
I think, though, I still go back to having blinders on prior to us working together on this. And so I feel like we've grown so much, and that gives me encouragement. And I also think that we're able to dive into things that I probably wouldn't have dived into.
I think.
Ultimately, I'm encouraged because I think had I not been able to explore so much that we have, that I would have maybe just stayed angry, or I would have only been defending Trump, or I would have only been seeing one side of things. And so I think that now I'm able to kind of see the forest through the trees, and I have some optimism because I think that we're kind of seeing that not only what social media is doing to us, and it maybe have an influence from, bad actors, but that if we're being really optimistic, that things could change and that we're bringing respect back. I mean, maybe we've gotten as low as we possibly could go, and we're only going to bring respect and decorum and compromise. I know compromise isn't the right word, but...
Yeah. Before we go, one last question. Because this, I think it ties into what you just said.
Okay.
What are you most excited and or curious about in connection with the upcoming midterms?
I think we are going to find out what direction this country is going to go. I mean, I know that every election cycle that, we can change the trajectory. But I feel like this is a really important one because you're going to get people who, with Trump not on the ballot, it'll be interesting to see what Republicans come out and vote, and do they feel empowered to come out and vote, or are they going to throw their hands up and go, "Let's see what you got, Democrats. Just take it. We don't care." And with the Democrats, is there going to be a swing to the left, which, I think they talked about on Mo News this morning. That would be every Republican's dream,
of course,
is to see, because that would be so much harder to fight, or so much easier to fight.
I mean, part of me, I'm with you. Like, I feel like that talking about like human nature, and I think we were talking to David about it, that if it does swing far left, it's Trumpian in the other way. And if it overcorrects in the midterms, there is no way a Democrat will win president in 2028.
Yeah.
No way. And I think I can confidently say that because I just confidently said that. But that's something that I've, right? But that's something that I'm learning. Like, okay, that this is, I'm watching human nature. I'm seeing, so excited. I would say I'm more curious. I would love, we've talked about this with David, I would love a situation where Tallarico wins and Paxton loses, and so that we bring more decency back. I think that would be really exciting. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but you know what? It is only June 25th, and so much can happen, as we know,
it's in a long day,
let alone. So who knows what's going to happen? And this might be a wake-up call for the quote-unquote moderate Democrats who are actually progressive compared to what's going on. So let's get real about what's really happening here. But for you progressive, liberal Democrats that are not part of the Democratic Socialist movement, you got to wake up. You got to wake up now. Now. You don't have any more time. You got to wake up. You got to do what you got to do to get people engaged. End of story. That's what I think.
And Republicans, and I would say for Republicans, you don't have to live under Trump's thumb anymore.
Gosh.
I mean, now you don't have to worry about the bully
I wish.
on the playground.
He's still bullying. He did it yesterday. That amazing bipartisan, I want to shout out to that amazing bipartisan housing bill. Oy.
Although, if he doesn't do anything, it'll still pass if he doesn't veto it.
Do you have a would you rather, my dear?
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Sure, if you'd like me to.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want to?
This one's just dumb. But and the reason it's dumb is because I thought this could be kind of serious. I was a little nervous about this particular episode, so I thought I'd make it funny and easy for you. I don't know if it's easy, actually. Would you rather have a permanent unibrow or no eyebrows at all?
Do I get to pluck the unibrow?
I know. I think that's only fair.
Right. I mean, do you have to do it every day, though?
I would imagine
What if you have to do it every day?
I was thinking about, could you embrace it like it's a fashion statement?
Could feather it.
You could feather it. That's so Iowan of you.
Okay, but these days, you can get them tattooed. You can get fake ones.
But aren't eyebrows important for your eyes? Aren't they important to, keep the dust out?
I thought that was your eyelashes.
That too. Your eyebrows have to have a purpose. I think it's also.
Eyebrows do.
What do eyebrows do, listener and viewer? I think they help get stuff out of your eyes, but what do I know? All right, so what are you picking?
Oh, give me no eyebrows at all. I have bangs, and so if I didn't have any eyebrows, I could kind of hide it. I mean, you wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
Like with you. I mean, you'd notice you notice your eyebrows. I don't think you can really notice my eyebrows.
Eyebrows? Okay. I'm into eyebrows. A unibrow would be a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nicole, here's your would you rather.
I'm ready.
Would you rather live without air conditioning
Oh, my God.
or live in America? Because poor
I
Europe
know.
does not have AC right now.
know. All these
UK
people are
only has
dying.
5% of the people have AC in the UK. 5%. Yeah, it's
All these
actually a
people are
very sad
drowning.
story.
I know they're
Yeah.
drowning because they are.
And old people in nursing
It's
homes,
awful.
and I mean, it's horrible. And so,
Yeah.
I hope they get AC soon. I hope they can get window units. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I get they have old buildings, they have
Yeah.
old infrastructure.
Yeah.
I get all that. Damn, put a window unit in, right?
Listen, I do not know. All I know is that as a redhead, I'm just hot. Hot, hot, hot all the time. Not having AC, it's, yes. But I feel so badly for the Europeans.
Yeah, that's a bad deal.
Because it's only going to get worse, y'all. Thank you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, press the thumbs up. Please subscribe. It helps us. It helps us. Kick that algorithm in, and we so appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for those of you that wrote in and gave us questions. We totally appreciate you. Jolene, anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's all.
Okay,
Goodbye.
bye-bye. We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.